Hello again. I just watched Mervin's video, Mud, Glorious Mud. I'll leave a link below. Made some really excellent points about the cases in the original indictment that led to not guilty verdicts or where they couldn't reach a verdict. There are quite a few of them. So it's good to check that out if you haven't seen it. I'm thinking more as the day has gone on that would the police, this Cheshire mob of scumbags, would they announce, well, first of all, are they obliged to announce it publicly that they've sent it to the CPS? Is it something that they must do? Must they make that public? If they don't have to, and there's no other way that people would know unless they told the public or the media, then why would they do it? Well, they're doing it for the publicity of it. But would they do it? The further question is that I've got in my mind is, would they do it if they thought there was a chance of the CPS rejecting this full file, whatever a full file is? What were the original ones they sent? Well, like just empty files, half full, 3/4 full. That's sort of gibberish. It's some in-house jargon bollocks, isn't it, that they use to make it sound official and important. They're just a bunch of arseholes, really, all of them. So there we are. So just to reiterate, would they send it? Would they announce it to the public if they thought there was a chance of the CPS rejecting it? Because if that then became public, that they'd rejected it, wouldn't that be a real blow against them vis-a-vis all the convictions of the original prosecution? The idea that it would reveal explicitly their desperation and shine a very glaring light on, or it's already been shone, I know, but what I mean, they'd add to it. They'd add to shining that light on the putrid mess of Hummingbird from the get-go, wouldn't they, if it was publicly rejected by the CPS? Now, I believe, don't care what any of them say, they talk to each other, and obviously, it's not as though they sent something off and all like crossing fingers. Oh, I hope they get this through. I hope they agree with it. Oh, I wonder if they will. There's all kind of high level, they're not high. They're low life level conversations, but with people with certain status levels, and they talk to each other between the CPS and the police and other agencies, i.e. governmental or Department of Health and whoever else is involved, all the putrid scumbaggery of the state involved in this politically. And they wouldn't announce it unless they knew that they were going to get the nod from it, as put it like that, the nod from it by these faceless, nameless creepazoids in the CPS. Despite what they say, they've got to do their legal test. All they have to say is, we've got to do the legal test, It's like the CCRC do their legal test and then reject all these of what turns out to be obvious miscarriages of justice and keep people in prison for years and years online. But they said, we did the legal test. Do the legal test, yeah. It's all crap and lies and meaninglessness. It's just empty phrases, empty words. It's a performance. It's all a performance, a grim performance. So to keep a focus now on what I was trying to say, because I'm getting I'm getting deviated by anger really about it. They wouldn't do it, would they? They wouldn't announce it unless it was going to be. And what does that mean then, if that does happen? But then, I suppose one may say, because I know people are saying, and I watched Tasha's video as well, it's very good, and Tasha and other people indeed are seeing it more in a optimistic light, what they're doing, I think. I'm not sure I think certainly with regard to in the long run, that with regard to the arrest of the former managers, that they're saying that this will be the way it will get. There's something in Tasha's video, if I remember it correctly, that she said, this is Tea Break with Tasha. I'll link that video as well below. That she says, well, if it does go to court, I think this is right. I think this is what she was saying. If it does go to court, then the managers will bring in, all their legal counsel will bring in all the real reasons why their babies died. But like I was saying in the video yesterday and in the live, my point of view is that how could they, in terms of self-preservation or their legal advice, would they advise them to take on the burden not only of defending themselves, but trying in effect to overturn a conviction that's already happened, to overturn Lucy Letby's conviction effectively, indirectly, by making their defence to gross negligence manslaughter the fact that there were no murders at all, because what they're carrying, they'd be carrying such an enormous burden there. Now, in truth, they should be carrying that burden. If we lived in a much better world in which the systems would care about the truth, then that's exactly what they should do. And it's what they should do in any case. It is what they should do. That should be their defence. I don't know what they believe, though, I suppose. Do we know what they believe? Do we know what Tony Chambers believes? I got the sense that he is, at the very, very least, uneasy and suspects that Lucy Letby is absolutely innocent and she's been stitched up, and then possibly Ian Harvey and whoever the third person is, some names have been suggested, third manager. What do they actually believe? There's what they believe, but there's also, they're in the frame now for a potential custodial sentence. That changes everything. That trumps what they may or may not believe about Lucy Letby, doesn't it? And it certainly would trump what or it would inform that reality, the threat, the potential threat, the cosh they're under, would inform, would it not, the advice and the direction taken by their defence, should it go to court, should they be charged and it go to court. Because I just can't square that circle that they would try to. I know they should, in truth, if they believe it, but that they would try to use as a defence. Well, we've got no case to answer for negligence, gross negligence, manslaughter, because there were no murders. So in respect of that aspect of it, they may have a case to answer in terms of being responsible officers that are party to running obviously high up in running an organisation in which the unit was being operated in a very unsafe way. But then there's a lot of other people would be involved in that as well as very specific medical negligence cases. We know what they are, whether it's Breary or Jayaram or other ones, but the consultants seemed to get by on those, didn't it? It didn't seem to harm Dr. B, did it? Didn't harm Dr. B. From 2014, she can end up as one of the gang of 4/7, or whatever what number Gibbs wants to add to it, the gang number. But it didn't hurt Dr. B. And I've always thought, and I remember Operation Falcon saying that he sympathetic to this idea that something could well have happened from vis-a-vis what happened with Dr. B and the negligence of Dr. B in 2014 that led to the death of a baby, and the negligence of the doctor that she was supervising, but because she was in the supervisory role, she's the principal negligent individual, but she just went on and became a witness for the prosecution. That's handy, isn't it? I think something happened in 2014 as a build-up to what then kicked off from the summer of 2015. I think so. I think there's a history there, but it's appalling beyond words. I'd like to be more sanguine and optimistic about it in the way that some other commentators are on some of the YouTube channels that I've seen. And I hope they're right. I hope they're right. And what I do and would maintain that is that once these scumbags go down this line and keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it, it's for them it will be the law of unintended consequences of that. What I can't go along with at the moment, and if I'm wrong, I'd be happy to be wrong, but this is what I'm picking up, a sense that the police are, the idea that the police are doing this, knowing that this is the way out of unravelling the stuff that they've done with the persecution of Lucy Letby and the false convictions, miscarriage of justice. That this is a strategy to unravel that, and they've got to do it this way, it's their way out. I just don't see that at all. I'd like to be wrong, I'd like to be wrong, but I just don't think that's not the stuff they're made of. This is them, I believe, sadly, and in it's a bitter pill, but it's not a pill, it's just a bitter taste in the mouth that they're just doing more and more and more and more and more to, it's a nail, it's another nail, it's another nail in the lid. That's how they see it. The thing they need to keep, what they need to, stop, they want to stop the truth escaping. I mean, this truth is out there, as said in The Outer Limits, it's out there. I mean, it's literally out there, but it's not it's not mysterious. It's out for the world to see. Just read the reports of and all the commentary over the last number of years from so many sources. But look who's Shu Lee and Panel's reports, for goodness sake, But no, I don't believe it's any sort of subtle way of them trying to do the right thing by carrying on doing apparently the wrong thing. I'm not saying people are putting it in those terms, but that's sort of how I'm reading an optimistic view of it, is in some ways, but unless I've misunderstood, which I may have done. But I understand people want to be optimistic about it, and I do as well, and I think the straw I'm grabbing hold of is that they just don't know where it's going to lead. But I don't believe at this point in time, I can't imagine, can anyone really imagine that those 3 managers are taken to court, and they're looking at jail time, and they're going to go with the defence of, we're going to tell you in our defence that our defence is that you've got the wrong person in prison because there never was any crimes, and like other people have said yesterday on the live and elsewhere, that they stated that they've gone along with the story, in respect of Thirlwall, in their appearances at Thirlwall, at least in a public facing way. What they think privately is something else altogether, but they've gone along with it. Wasn't it, I think I sometimes get the names mixed up now, wasn't it Karen Rees who was advised, well, here's a prime example for you. Karen Rees was advised by her, and she said this publicly, so I'm not making this up. She said this publicly in a newspaper article, in an interview. She was advised by her legal advisors to state that she now believes Lucy Letby is guilty, but she said, I should never have done that, I'll always regret it, but I always believed she was innocent. But it's like she was doing it under duress in order to what? In order to protect herself, and that's what the legal advice was. If you want to look after yourself here, what you don't do, Karen Rees, is keep saying that Lucy Letby is innocent. You don't do that. Don't do it publicly. Think what you like at home, but make sure you get on message. And then she did, and she said she'll always regret that, because she's obviously recanted again, didn't she? Karen Rees now. It's Karen Rees I'm talking about, isn't it? I hope that's right. I sometimes get the names mixed up with Alison Kelly, but it was on a different role. a higher, sort of a more wider nursing management role, wasn't she? So yeah, and where does this? Oh, this is another thing I've just thought on the hoof. Really, does the timing of this, and is it meant to do this, act as a plausible stalling tactic for the CCRC, who, if somebody wants to get on at them, whether it's Mark McDonald and team, say, well, aren't you going to report on this? Aren't you going to refer it? And so we can't do that until these other charges have gone through. Let's say the CPS accepts it, and there's another trial next year. We can't. It's not. It wouldn't be right for us to do that. We can't. Do you see how it's all stacking up? How this is how evil operates. This is how psychopathy operates. It's totally without conscience, without morals, without any kind of. There are no qualities here other than just the will to destroy innocence in this particular instance, and to win power, raw power to win. It's like dealing with a sort of machine. There's no human component here in what they're doing. It's a machine. It's a machine that's protecting itself, protecting what it sees are its successes and its status. Protect, and attack. Protect by attacking. So that's how I'm reading it, and that looks really horrific, because I just thought of that now. I don't know whether other people may agree or be thinking the same way, that it gives the CCRC an out to say, well, we can't really refer this to the Court of Appeal yet. We've got to kind of basically put it on ice until these other charges have been, if the CPS agree with them, until they've gone through the legal system, and see where we are then. And how long could that take? Do you see what they're doing? They're just pushing it down the road. And now, on one level, you could say it looks like a desperation tactic, but it can also work, because you're not dealing with honest brokers anywhere here. Not the CPS, not the CCRC, not the police, obviously. None of them. You're dealing with a kind of gang. You're dealing with a gang without any morals, or a series of 3 interlocking gangs. And the justice system as a whole is one big gang. That's what you're dealing with. That's how I see it. I wish I didn't see it like that, because I wish it wasn't like that. But that is how I see it. And until something demonstrably changed my view, because it showed itself not to be like that, then that's how I view it. By their fruits shall ye know them. Oh dear. Anyway, take care, and have a good evening there. Bye.